So June 2021 is the 51st anniversary of the celebration of Pride Month, which is observed globally to remember the 1969 Stonewall riots, as well as work that's been done to achieve justice and equal opportunities for queer communities in particular. So earlier this year, gender activists welcomed the move by the Home Affairs Department to recognize the needs and preferences of queer people when allocating things like identity numbers. Currently, in case you didn't know, the 7th digit in your South African ID can be used to actually identify your sex. So, if that figure is between 0 and 4, that means the holder of the ID is a female. While if that figure is between 5 and 9, people can actually use that to identify you as male. New options include randomized ID numbers and the introduction of an additional third category for intersex people. Yaya Mavundla is a trans rights activist. She's recently managed to change her ID number so that it officially recognizes her as female. She joins us now via our video link. Yaya, great to chat to you once again. Thanks for making time for us here on Newzroom Afrika. Some may not know this, but it's been years in the making to actually finally get here. Take us through your journey and what it felt like to finally hold an ID that you can identify with.
Good morning, Ayana. Thank you so much for having me and everybody at home. It's such a, for me, besides it being Pride Month, but for me to actually receive that email that's, saying my ID now is officially female was really, really overwhelming because, I remember when I applied last year in November, I really didn't think it was going to happen so fast because I've met like many transgender women and trans men that have said they've applied over many years and they've never even received a response from the Home Affairs. But thanks God, because, I was actually on their case to say, listen, I need this done. And for me, then it says, we are a step closer to many other things that you once rectified.
For many people, they didn't even know that your ID can actually be used. Just the number itself can be used to categorize you as either male or female. Why was that important for you, that it aligns with your own identity? Because, again, for other individuals, it's just a number.
I think, I'm going to speak in terms of employment. On the previous episode of the show that I'm on Becoming, one of our cast members had a lunch with a friend to actually say, listen, I got a new job because he was not employed for some time. But then he says on his first day when he went there, the employer then said, we were expecting a female, and now what then shows on the ID and also the person that it's totally different things. And then it really causes like so much discomfort for you first and even the other people that are there. And, I know one of my friends who has been struggling to even get like an apartment because his ID then is viewed as fraud because then it identify him as she.
Sure. So again, the message here is that it's not just the number. It actually has material impact for how you live your day-to-day life. That said, still, Yaya, inking is the fact that we are still in the binary, aren't we? We're still talking about either just male or female, when we know that there's more than just that, and it feels like, yes, this is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't go the whole way.
Listen, it's so sad that I think, a biology only then defines two people. It says it's either you are female or you are male. And for many, there are many other people that don't even like identify themselves as trans, They are non-binary, they are, they don't see, I just like met somebody that said to me they are non-gender. And what do we then do in that case? But I'm glad, that these conversations are now opening up. They're starting to happen, and so much is going to change.
Yeah. You mentioned Becoming. That's the reality show that you're a part of. In case anybody missed it, it's the first of its kind in South Africa, follows the lives of transgender people, and, helps us understand, in some respects, some of their plight. We've been watching this for several weeks now, Yaya. Last time I spoke to you, you were apprehensive around how people might receive it. From your vantage point, how has that reception been so far?
So, it's so funny because then having like being part of becoming for, besides even like having shot it, but now seeing it on, being on air and people watching it at home and the show doing well with the ARs, you can never know what really people want and how are people going to respond, because I was really, really scared at first, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder what are people going to say, and I thought we're actually going to receive so much hate. And funny enough, people are loving the show. We've been having like such great response, and you have no idea when I look at my DMs, especially after receiving the new ID number and I made that announcement, so many other people, even like parents coming forward saying, listen, my child is trans and would like to actually go and apply for a gender marker on his gender marker. And I'm like, I can't believe this is actually happening. People are showing us so much love, which means people are ready for these conversations.
Yeah, interesting you say that, because what I was going to ask next is, what do you think people are taking away from watching the lives of transgender people who, let's be honest, have been left to the margins for a long time, if not ever since, really?
Listen, I think, you know what, with all of us, the four of us being so honest with where we come from, where we at also, it really, really helps so many people, and a lot of people then, which means they, what do you call it? They see themselves in this situation, because this is reality, it's things that are happening. When I remember when there was an episode of like all of us, like I'm meeting with my family, and my family is so supportive, and Gina's family is supportive. Same with Rama and Goku. And then the people at home who have actually trans people as kids, or trans kids, and they see, actually there is nothing wrong with us, I can also support my child, because I think most people then think, oh my gosh, what is society going to say if I support my child? But now they see us on television and our families are so supportive. It then sends a very positive message. And also, I think also us speaking about our experiences outside of our homes, sends a lot of positivity. I, for one, I think, because I'm sure like people that work at Home Affairs do watch the show, especially because I did shoot a scene with the Home Affairs. I'm sure these people genuinely want this, for themselves, not because they're trying to prove a point to anyone, but it's something that they generally want. And this is why I think they are coming forward to say, listen, we are able to assist where we can.
Having an ID number that correctly reflects how you feel about yourself is just one of the many struggles by a lot of queer people in our country. There's been that ongoing discussions around getting gender-neutral bathrooms in public spaces. There's ongoing discussions about general acceptance. I wonder, as we reflect on Pride Month, how you feel we're doing with all these Smolanyana struggles, for lack of a better term.
I think we need to revisit Pride first. What does Pride mean? I remember I recently read an article which was written by a friend of mine, Katlego Chibamba, which it says, whose pride is it anyway? And there are so many things that, that article speaks to. But I don't want us as South Africans to really focus on queer issues during only Pride Month, because we exist every day for the whole year, 365 days a year. So we can't really now say we need to focus on what's happening around queer lives only during Pride Month, because the issues that we are facing or that are being addressed today, they are going to happen tomorrow, next month, and next year.
Absolutely. Yaya Mavundla, we're watching your journey with a keen interest. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Really appreciate it.